Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures. Today we've got this 2022 Mercedes S-Class. This is the S580. It's a little bit windy out here today, so I'll do my best, but here we have the flagship Mercedes, almost, I guess they have the Mercedes Maybach, but the S-Class. And it is everything you would expect an S-Class to be. And just in case you didn't know it was a Mercedes, it's a Mercedes. It's kind of fun when you're driving and you actually see that. But I am missing my flags. This is, should have put some flags here on the front corners to let everyone know that I'm important. Anyway, I love this thing. This one isn't super gussied up or anything. It's kind of it's got a few little extra packages, the AMG wheels, and this one does have the 20-inch wheels on it still, but it's got winter tires because we are in Utah, and the Denver fleet manager also, I mean, they get a ton of snow out there, so they've got it on winter tires just to make sure that everyone's safe while they're out driving this thing. Still, they're incredibly grippy. They hook up plenty well on the pavement. 20-inch AMG wheels, comes with a AMG trimline package. You get a little bit different front fascia. It's a bunch of chrome bits, and overall this car is just gorgeous. I don't know if you can see that in the sun. It's not black, it is actually green, so it's an emerald green paint, and my wife doesn't like it. I love it. Go ahead and take a look under the hood. Oh, you gotta pull the latch twice on these. There we go. And there we are. Well, that's a great looking piece of plastic. Underneath that, 4-liter twin turbo V8 with a mild hybrid boost as well. Puts out 496 horsepower and 516 foot-pounds of torque, I believe. Those numbers might be off by a couple, but that's really close to what it should be. And it gets peak torque at around 2,000 RPM. So for cruising, this thing is incredible. It doesn't have to rev up. You push on the gas a little bit and it just goes. Quite an amazing vehicle to drive. I don't know what else to show you here on the exterior. The exhaust note, very subdued. It's an S-Class. The whole vehicle is just quiet and smooth and everything you would expect an S-Class to be. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. One thing is, man, these doors open really wide. I have to lean way over to reach for it. And you don't have like a pass-through handle that you're used to. It stops right there. This button is the rear window shade. There you go. And it's actually a push button. This is a push button here to open the rear window, panoramic sunroof window. And this one is a touch sensitive one. But if you do want to open the window, then you push it, and now it should pop the window open. There you go. Took me a second to figure out that it does have different features there. There we go. Get rid of that noise. If we come into here, hit under here on the comfort, there is massaging seats for the driver and passenger. If you go ahead and click on it, you can actually get other stuff. Change the ambient lighting, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. It does have controls right here, and this is a touch screen, so you kind of scroll just by barely touching that and scrolling through. Let's go ahead and go back a little bit. It's been sitting. I was hoping it would show the last 3 hours of runtime, but essentially this thing, incredible gas mileage unless you're being stupid like me and really getting on it. If you're driving it normally, not testing it, you're gonna get 30 miles per gallon on the freeway. Like 80 miles an hour, you're at 30 miles per gallon. It just cruises. with 500 horsepower getting 30 miles per gallon in a vehicle this large, that's pretty impressive. I do enjoy that. That's one thing I love about full-size vehicles in general. Here it shows how hard you're pushing on the brake. The gas pedal shows your suspension height. I don't think I can change it right there, but as you get on the freeway, it'll lower down, and you can raise it up, just not in this particular spot. And then you can also see the wheels turning. So the rear wheels didn't turn, but as I start to drive, you can see the rear wheels, and you can see the suspension, what the suspension's doing. It also has very, very clear high definition cameras. And again, here you can see the rear steer as you turn the wheel. It's showing where the vehicle's going to turn, and that has been honestly much better than I expected. It's crazy how tight this thing can turn in a parking lot. Whatever, if I think I'm past a spot and not gonna be able to make the turn in, I try it anyway, and most of the time this thing can make the turn. It's pretty incredible. Love that system. Again, you can control all that. There's the home button. You can control it all from here. Go to the radio, and sorry about that, but you can scroll through the radio stations from here and control the volume. Apparently the volume gets adjusted anyway. And the one issue I do have is that's a touch sensitive volume, and if you push it down like a button, it'll turn it off and on. But to change the volume level, it's kind of a touch sensitive thing, and I haven't really enjoyed how that works. It's got a 9-speed automatic. You can put your foot on the brake, push it down to go to drive. Kind of halfway will go to neutral, down or up, and then all the way up goes to reverse. Push in on the end for park. Paddle shifters, and they're very crisp, but I don't have a need to use them anyway. So I mean, it shifts great on its own. I don't need the paddle shifters in this vehicle. Electronic parking brake right here, and it does automatically set that for you. And it does have the automatic stop start, and it hasn't bothered me at all. This is one of the very few vehicles where I've left the automatic stop start on. Everything on this vehicle is just dialed in. It's so well developed and engineered that it just, all the systems seem to work really well. The one thing I didn't try, adaptive cruise control, and the lane keep assist I did have on, never bothered me. I could feel it kind of push me back into the lane a couple of times, but it wasn't overpowering. I could overcome it really easy if I wanted to. Here on the dash, you have a 3D dash cluster, so it looks like this centerpiece is further back than these other two gauges. This is the heads-up display menu right here, augmented reality for your navigation, your fuel efficiency, whatever, turn it off right there. Down here you have the other drive modes, and I know there's a way you can skip through that, but this looks really cool. It really does look like it's three-dimensional going back into the screen. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but yeah, there are a ton of different settings here. Go to the exclusive one, and there we go. Now it's working for me. You can show the different things in the center display here, I believe. There you go. And that was trippy. Holy cow, this 3D system with all the depth and everything. Yeah, it's kind of cool. With my sunglasses on, it messes it up a little bit. They're not even polarized, but anyway, that was kind of cool. And you can go through whatever fuel consumption, economy, whatever you want through there. There's quite a few options. I think I was on the classic one for most of the time I had it, and I believe in here it should have a navigation as well. I think I showed that earlier. Okay, anyway, plenty of options on here. Fun stuff, and if you want the full navigation, you can do that. Again, it's 3D. It totally looks like it is fading off into the background. Very cool. Love this control panel, this driver information center, I should say. It might be flashing because of the LEDs, but anyway, you can adjust how much air pressure comes from these vents. You can shut it off, and that goes for these ones on the side as well. And in the rear seat, we'll look at those in just a second. You can go through different drive modes: Sport, Sport Plus, Individual, and I heard the exhaust note change just a little bit. So you can hear that. And now let's do that again. Well, that sounds the same. Maybe it's playing an exhaust note through the speakers, because it doesn't sound that much different inside. Anyway, it shows you your settings for your engine and suspension and steering and all that stuff, and you can adjust that here in the individual mode if you want. Anyway, set it however you want. Here you can, what menu am I in? But you can go in and raise the suspension height and all that stuff. Oh, right here, there we go. Raise the suspension right there. Tons of stuff. If you put snow chains on, it'll raise your suspension and give you that clearance that you need, keep it up and not lower it as you get up to freeway speeds. Not that you want to be doing that anyway. Plenty of other features. Active steering assist, which I didn't really try. Maybe I'll try that now. Let's take it. Well, finish looking at the front here. 2 USB ports there. When you put your phone in here to charge, if it's still there when you turn the car off, it says, hey, you left your phone, using an actual voice. Center armrest here, just a couple of USBs. That's just a USB-C to USB-A adapter. And this is not heated. This is not heated as it is in some other vehicles. And if you want to raise and lower those rear seat shades, you just push the button down or pull it up once. If the window's already all the way up, it'll raise it. If it's all the way down, it will lower it. Go ahead and close the sunroofs, and let's climb. Well, first, before we climb in the back, this one is missing the air purification, air sensor, air fragrance thing right there, but it does have that option where you can put in the fragrance and have your cabin actively be fighting any bad smells that come from the inside or the outside. Okay, let's climb in the back row. Heated and cooled seats, of course. The side mirrors are dimming. The handles here will retract. When you walk up to them, they pop out if you have the key in your pocket. Same thing here in the rear seat. So you've got fan controls here. You can push that to open or close it. Window shade. What's this one? Okay, so this window shade right here is for the rear. There you go. I'm gonna leave it up. And this one is for the top. And then these two are for these ones. And if you go all the way, then you can roll down the window. And same thing when you roll it up, use that same switch. And all of this is acoustic glass with a coating on it that reflects infrared light. And then if the other side's bugging you, you can actually control both sides from here, and you can lock and unlock the doors. Down here, kind of a useless cubby, and is that showing up? You have 2 USBs and a 115-volt outlet. In the center armrest, again, this is just the basic package, but right here you have a phone or tablet holder. You have a little storage space and access into the trunk. This headrest pops up, or you can push the button right there and fold it down. It does have the child seat anchors underneath here, so you can hook on car seats, and of course the top tether. And then the sound system, I want to say it was a 16 speaker. I'll put that number up on the screen if I'm wrong. Anyway, 16 speaker surround sound. They call it 3D sound from Burmeister, if I'm saying that right. It's a good sound system. It sounds great. The thing about this car is everything is so quiet. Even when you're cruising down the freeway 80 miles an hour, it's just quiet in here. So you don't need like an overpowering sound system. You just have a really high quality one, very clear, but it doesn't have to be that loud. Very cool. Up here, you can turn on all of the lights in the car or just the reading lights for the back seat. Okay, take a look in the trunk. So again, this is a base model. Doesn't have anything fancy. So you actually have to push the trunk button. You can push it from the driver. You can push it on the key. Of course, right there, it's power closing. And you do have access to fuse panel here. I don't know what this strap's for. It's almost like it's rounded for a fire extinguisher or something. And then underneath, a little bit more storage. I think these might just be ashtrays. I'm not 100% sure there. Drop them in the cup holder. That might be an ashtray, but that feels like it's plastic, which maybe I wouldn't want that for an ashtray. Anyway, and then you have your tow hook here if you need it. No spare tire. It does have foam-filled tires to reduce the noise when you're driving, and you can pull that down, hang some stuff on it if you need. Sorry, I'm not pointing where I'm talking about. Pull that down. It's got a couple hooks there so you can hang grocery bags or whatever on it. Tons of room in the trunk. If you hit that one, it locks it. If you hit this one, hey, it does say you can wave your foot under. It says move it back and forth. There you go. I've just been doing it wrong. So I did it twice, so it stopped it. Yeah, so you just move your foot back and forth twice, and then it does it. So I've been doing that wrong. I've been waving it side to side. Wrong way to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the window sticker. And the doors are soft closing, so you just barely close it. And it sucks it in. This one, not final, but this is pretty much the actual price. Base price for this is $117. This is just a 2022 S580 sedan with 4MATIC. Yes, it's all-wheel drive, and tons of standard stuff. The 12.8 inch center screen, soft closed doors, infrared reflecting laminated glass. All this kind of stuff is standard. We get over here, the piano lacquer flowing lines, $1,300 extra for that, all the way across the dash here. It does have the 20-inch AMG multi-spoke wheels, and yeah, lots of other stuff. Anyway, there is a credit for it's missing a standard air balance package, which I believe is that fragrance thing. Let's see, right here, air balance cabin fragrance system. So it is missing that, which is standard on this vehicle. I don't know why it doesn't have that, but that's okay. Let's see, heated steering wheels extra $250. The rear axle steering 4.5 degrees, $1,300. Technology package with the augmented reality head-up display and 3D instrument cluster, very cool, $3,000. And then the big one, the AMG line, $4,300 for AMG wheels and sport body styling. I believe those are 19-inch wheels, so the upgraded 20-inch wheels there for the extra $850. Stainless steel pedals with the rubber knobs on them, and AMG floor mats. So very cool, very nice. $130,000 with the destination charge and everything. This thing extremely well equipped, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, active steering. If you want to use the gestures, I don't use the gestures. Tons and tons of features all just built right into it. Of course, auto dimming side view mirrors, auto dimming rear view mirror, tons of stuff in this thing. I don't even know how to cover everything that's in here. I do want to get a couple of outside shots of that rear steering, so we'll do that now. It's definitely a little hard to see, but when I first turn the wheel at the very beginning, you can see the rear wheels turn, and it's very noticeable while you're driving how tight the turning radius is. And here at the end, when I straighten back out, just barely catches it straighten back out on the rear as well. When you walk up to this Mercedes, it should, there you go, it's pretty hard to see. The door handles popped out and lit up, and it lights up the ground. It's hard to see on the camera. And when you do hit the unlock button or open the door, apparently it puts the Mercedes symbol on the ground and turns on the front, the headlights a little bit more as well. Of course, inside you get lighting all around. And one thing I do like on these is when you reach to the passenger side, the light automatically turns on. You move away, it turns off. So when you're reaching over there at night for something, that light will just automatically turn on and you can see what you need to. Pretty cool. And watch what happens when I adjust the temperature. So if I'm adjusting the driver's side, I'll show warmer or cooler. Kind of an interesting thing. And then there on the passenger side. And this is the number of times I push it. You'll see that blue dot going across the top. That's just the number of times I'm pushing the button. So another interesting, kind of a cool, fun feature that's useless, but fun to do. As expected, cruising on the freeway, this is possibly the best vehicle I've ever driven for that. Really got a lot of torque and down low, twin turbo V8, but whatever it's doing, it just goes no problem at all. It's extremely smooth, extremely quiet. I've had the GLS, which the one I had additional sound deadening. It had the heated armrests and heated door panel, so when you rest your arm on it, it stays warm. It had all sorts of features. This one doesn't have some of those. This one costs about I think 20 grand less than that GLS did. But I prefer this one. I prefer this vehicle. If I were to, I don't know actually, if I were to have a highway cruiser, because you're not really taking the GLS off-road, but the GLS is there if you do need more passenger space. This one only seats 5, but if you only need to seat 5 people, this one is definitely the way to go. And sedans have fallen out of favor in the US. Of course, I already told you a little bit of how much I love sedans, the big sedans, you know, the Crown Vic and the Lexus LS, which is why I took this S-Class, because it is a huge, just massive sedan, and they are the best riding on the road, and they get pretty good gas mileage. I've been getting only around 21 miles per gallon, but when I'm cruising right now at like 30 miles an hour, it just gets, or sorry, 30 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, it gets such good gas mileage. Close to 30 miles per gallon right now, or over 30 miles per gallon. And that's going roughly 80 miles an hour. I don't know if you can see the head-up display there. It's very clear. But yeah, 79, 80 miles an hour. And you can see right there on the far right, I'm getting nearly 30 miles per gallon. When I screw around, obviously, in this vehicle with 500 horsepower, it's like 496. But anyway, when I'm screwing around, of course, I don't get that kind of gas mileage. But just cruising, if you're just setting the cruise control and flying down the freeway, this thing gets great fuel mileage, and the power is there when you need it. That is why I love sedans. The GLS, I was around like 15 miles per gallon combined, and then on the freeway I was maybe at 20, but probably less than that even. So that's why I love sedans. These big V8, just smooth ride. They're quiet inside, plenty of power, and still quite fuel efficient for the amount of power they have. One of the features the Mercedes has is the parking light. So I think you can see that in the reflection fairly well. I have it set so right now only the driver's side light is showing. You can see it back there. So if you're street parking, if you're on the edge of the road, you can leave that on, and then it's much easier for passing cars to see the edge of your vehicle. I don't know how useful this is in reality, because you should still, you know, passing vehicles should still be able to see the reflection on your lights and everything. It should be just fine, but anyway, it's a cool feature if you do have to street park it. In Sport Plus mode here, and just cruising up this windy road. The crazy thing, so this has like 516 foot-pounds of torque, but peak torque is 2,000 RPM, around there. So, I mean, I'm just cruising, I'm at 2,000 RPM right now, but if I want to go, it doesn't have to downshift. Like, you feel that torque just pull you instantly. And, I mean, I just gained like 10 miles an hour barely pushing on the gas pedal. It really makes for a nice drive when the amount of effort you have to put in is so little. And you can hear some of my stuff rolling around a little bit, but as far as the seat, it has the bolsters that kind of grab you on the side. You can adjust how tight they are, and it does. I'm in Sport Plus mode. It still leans a little bit in the corners, and it has the air suspensions and adaptive suspension, so it does do a pretty good job of preventing that, but you still get a little bit of lean. It's not quite a sports car. As a sports sedan, maybe, but that's not what this thing's designed for. It's, again, I think it's excellent. Though there will definitely be sports cars that will be much more planted and level as you corner than this thing, but really it's not too bad at all. Alright, we're in Sport Plus mode. I'm going to try and do a 0 to 60 here real quick. I didn't bring my OBD2 scanner, so it's not going to be as precise, but we'll go off the frames of the camera. 3, 2, 1, go. Man, that thing pulls so hard. 60, 80, I mean, it just goes. It's incredible how fast this thing goes. That was uphill. We're probably 47 to 4,900 feet elevation right here. I'll look that up and throw it on the screen, but we're pretty high elevation, so pulling that hard at this elevation with the turbos, it's a little bit expected to not lose nearly as much power. But yeah, I think Car and Driver got 3.9 seconds 0 to 60 on this, and the Mercedes official number was 4.3 if I'm correct. So we'll flip around here, see if we can get a 0 to 60 going the other way as soon as traffic clears. And we're good. Okay, let's try and do that same thing right here. Not brake torquing or anything, just flat foot going. And 3, 2, 1, go. It's crazy how fast this thing is. I don't know, hopefully that showed up on the screen here or there on the head-up display, but either way, this thing incredibly fast, incredibly powerful. My miles per gallon always drops by like at least half when I do those full throttle launches. All right, I have that active steering assist on. I'm not even sure what it does, because maybe I don't know. It's not, certainly not keeping me in the lanes. I can't tell. It's got a little thing there saying that it's on, but if I let go and start to drift across, maybe it is bringing it back in. No cars around me. Let's see how it does. And it just goes straight across the line. So I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look up that active steering assist. It might just be to reduce the pressure. You know, it thinks you need to turn left a little bit. So this vehicle for me requires a little bit of an explanation, because I normally only test SUVs, crossovers, and pickup trucks. But in this case, I saw it was in the fleet. I said, hey, if it's coming out to Utah, I wouldn't mind taking a crack at this one. My first vehicle I drove, 1995, 96 Crown Vic, something like that. Big sedan, just like this one. I loved it. It was the first vehicle I drove. I didn't drive it for that long before I ended up in a Suburban, another huge vehicle. Anyway, Love these big sedans. They get great gas mileage on the freeway, excellent power, and so roomy and comfortable inside. They can be a little bit of a pain to park, but not this one with the rear steer. So that is why I picked this one up. Sedans, these huge sedans, rear-wheel drive typically, this one's all-wheel drive, which is also great, are my favorite vehicles to drive for a daily driver, a commuter. If you're traveling long distances, this is the way to go, unless you're commuting around town in the city and it's really tight, and this isn't going to get good gas mileage in the city. I was around, I don't know, 17, 18 in the city, but around 30 on the freeway. So if most of your commute's on the freeway, this might be the way to go. Again, that's why I'm taking this car. I love big sedans like this, and normally I wouldn't take this. I'm not going to do an off-road test with it like I normally do, of course, but just something that I really love, and jumped on the opportunity to drive it for a few days. A couple other things I didn't talk about. When you park it, it will keep the cabin warm if you want it to. You hit a button, keeps it warm while you're going in if it's cold outside. The one day I came out, I didn't even turn that on. I came out, as I walked up to it, I heard it turn on a fan. It was cooling the inside down from blowing fresh outside air into the cabin, which it was much cooler outside than it was inside, but the inside of the vehicle was actually kind of hot. So it does a lot of things proactively to make sure that the passengers are so comfortable. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of this 2022 Mercedes-Benz S-Class. One of my favorite vehicles I've ever driven. I love the S-Class. They say the GLS is the S-Class of SUVs, but the S-Class is so much better to drive on the road. If you don't need the extra passenger space or cargo space of the GLS, be sure to look at the S-Class. It's smoother, it's quieter. In my opinion, it's just better all around, better fuel mileage. It's probably a little bit faster too. If you liked what you saw, subscribe, ring the bell, hit so you get notifications when we post new videos, and be sure to give me a thumbs up and comment down below. If you didn't like it and you give me a thumbs down, be sure to comment and let me know why. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.